Joining us today on the podcast, new Dolphins linebacker Jordyn Brooks. Jordyn, welcome in, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to be here. I haven't been here that long, but, it's been a good time for as long as I've been here already.
I heard you killed the Dolphins trivia in the previous content thing we did with you. Well, how do you know so much Dolphins trivia?
I just know a lot about football, man. I grew up just like watching the NFL Network, and they would play all the old Super Bowl games, all the old throwback games. So I kind of learned the history there, and I'll go on YouTube as a kid just looking up everything. So I think that's where it comes from.
Might be a fan of our other podcast here, The Fish Tank. They do stories from the old players from the old Dolphins teams. Sounds like it's up your alley. So you make the jump from Seattle to South Florida. You're from Texas, so you're used to the heat, but I'm also from the Northwest. And coming down here, the climate difference, man, it really hit me in the face. But you're getting off the plane in March. That weather's pretty nice this time of year down here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Like you said, I'm from Houston, so I'm used to this kind of, humidity and the heat. And so it's familiar to me, but it's a lot different than how it was in Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely. So you did something pretty remarkable last year, coming off of a torn ACL in 2022, and then played every game just 9 months removed from that injury. I'm curious, how did you do that, and what did you learn from that process?
A lot of people ask me that question. I can give you the same answer. It wasn't me, honestly. It was God. To come back from that injury in less than 7 months and play a full season with no problems at all, I have to give credit to God for that one. That's my answer to it, honestly.
It's really impressive because it used to be that injury was a lot more significant than just you said 7 month turnaround that it took you there.
7 months.
That's pretty impressive. I remember last year we had Alec Ingold here for his second year. His first year he was coming off an ACL and he had to go through the whole offseason program, training camp in the red penny. And then last year he had a chance to ditch the red penny, the medical jersey, and he was just so thrilled to be out there for a full camp. Is that kind of the same for you this year?
Yeah, because I didn't have a full camp. I came back at the end of training camp last year. And so to have a full camp, getting ready for the season is definitely going to be big for me.
So I know you mentioned you're a big fan of football and the league in general. New running mate at the linebacker position, David Long, came in here last year, had a great year for us. What do you know about his game and how excited are you to play with David Long?
I've got a chance to see a couple games and watch him play. I think he's a great linebacker. I actually I think he was at West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So we came from the same conference in the Big 12. I would see some of his games when he was there. I think he's always been a fantastic player. So I'm excited to get to play with him and lead this team.
Him and Anthony Walker, some new linebackers here. We've got 3 new linebackers the last 2 years. All you guys will be playing under new defensive coordinator, Coach Anthony Weaver. His first year as DC here. Have you had a chance to meet Coach yet? First impressions, how do you think you'll mesh with Anthony Weaver?
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to him on the phone. He surprised me because he had a Houston area code. So I was like, all right, I might like this. And so I know he comes from a great organization with the Ravens. They had a lot of success last year. So I'm excited to work with him and see what he brings scheme-wise and coaching-wise.
So I read an article about how you kind of were taken under the wing of Bobby Wagner up in Seattle, the great linebacker there for a long time. And when he left to go to the Rams a couple of years ago, you took over the defensive signal calling, right?
Yes, sir.
In Seattle. So I'm curious what you learned from that experience and how that kind of helps a linebacker when you see the field that way, you call the defense, how that just helps you be even more instinctive and play faster.
I think what the biggest area it helped me, surprisingly, it would probably be endurance. I didn't realize how much in shape you had to be to call the plays and then go out there and play full speed at the same time. It's a lot harder than it looks. But besides that, I think it helped the IQ of the game. For me personally, just knowing what's going on, because as a Mike linebacker, you got to know everybody's job. You got to know where the pieces fit. If we need to make adjustments during the play, you got to know those things. And I think it forced me to grow as a player in my knowledge of the game.
What is your preparation like to take on like that, especially for like a new Dolphins defense here? If that's something you're asked to do in Miami, I'm curious, what's your approach to getting yourself in that position where the defense is second nature, not just for your role, but all the guys like you mentioned in front of you and behind you?
Just really dial in, locking it in, paying attention to meetings, studying, creating a good routine, getting ready for that challenge. I think all that goes into it.
So one thing that I've talked about on my podcast a lot this offseason is that all the teams that were in the conference championships this year seem to have those rangy linebackers that can drop into that hook zone, take away those deep passing lanes, and play the run as well. I see that a lot in your game. I'm curious why you think it's so important to have so much range like you have at the linebacker position in a defense.
I mean, it's just a league that we're in. Got to be able to defend the pass. Say, for instance, we're in some type of coverage where we got to take over routes and, the special routes, linebackers got to be able to carry those guys coming across the hash. And then also the next play, line up and play the run. And so I think you have to be versatile. And like you said, you know, a lot of those linebackers that made it deep into the playoffs, that's what they were capable of doing. And so I think it's important.
You're looking forward to when Tyreek motions into the 3 and runs that vertical seam on you and you get that matchup in training camp?
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Look, I will say this. He is fast, without a doubt. But I think people underestimate how fast I am. I really think I might be one of the fastest guys in the league. So hopefully I get to show you guys that.
That's why I asked you. It stands out on tape, man. It really jumps off the tape when you watch the Seahawks last couple of years.
Absolutely.